Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode. Oh my god, sorry, I'm really thrown off at the moment. My boyfriend's with me, but he's not in shot, he's just behind the camera. I was like, because he's in my house, it's St. Patrick's Day, by the way, happy fucking St. Patrick's Day. He's in my house and I was like, it's so weird if you're just like sat in the corner and I pretend you're not here. Like, I'd rather you be here and I can chat to you a little bit back and forth on the podcast. Sometimes I like that when you listen to a podcast and there's like a bit of back and forth with people behind the camera, or like, you know, people in the room, people, the producer, stuff like that. So Thomas is playing producer today. Hello. Everyone say hello, Thomas. Anyway, welcome back to a new episode of Here For The Craic with me, Emma Neill. As I said, it is St. Patrick's Day today. We're feeling very patriotic. Obviously, when you're listening to this, it's going to be a week later. No, you know what? I was going to say should have timed it to come out on St. Patrick's Day to do an Irish themed episode, but actually this episode today relies on it being St. Patrick's Day and everyone being out and celebrating being Irish, because I'm gonna interview people on the streets. I'm gonna ask them a series of questions all to do with being Irish, and yeah, I really wanna soak up the Irish love today, and I wanna spread it on the Here For The Craic podcast. It does rely though on getting people willing to do this and getting people that aren't too drunk, which, you know, it's a hard ask on St. Patrick's Day, considering there was literally a 1 kilometer line to the Hatfield at 9:30 a.m. this morning. Was it 9:30? Yeah, 9:30. The queue was absolutely wild. So, you know, they start early here. We're probably not going to make it out till about 2:30. So we'll see what state everyone's in. But oh my God, have we had a morning. I have never in my life started St. Patrick's Day in such a wholesome way. So today was the day of the 10k race that I told you that my mum got me for my Christmas present. Thanks, Paula. Love that from you. Great Christmas present. Don't know that she'll ever be doing that again. No, she actually probably will, to be fair, because it was really fun. And I really back it now as a Christmas present. At the time, I was like, don't know about that, but such a lovely way to start your St. Patrick's Day. It's called the Craic 10k. It is so busy. I have seen runs as busy. Like, I've literally gone to support the London Marathon and it is crazy. Obviously, the Belfast Craic 10k is nothing near that. But it was just so nice to see, and like all the roads closed and so many people were out supporting. And I was just thinking, like, imagine you were a tourist in Belfast for the weekend for St. Patrick's Day, and then that was going on, and then the parade. Like, I don't know, it's kind of nice. I was really happy to be a part of it this year, and I was kind of scared that I wasn't scared that I wouldn't finish it, because I've done 10Ks before, but I don't know. I have my reservations. I didn't want to get too set on like a certain time. Also, my boyfriend is so much quicker than me. Little, what do I call you? Little springy legs, little frog legs over here. He's like the bounciest person in the world. You should see him when he bounces. His legs are like high. His feet are like higher than my head. He did it in what? 42 minutes. 10k in 42 minutes. And sorry, my old neighbour that lived beside me when I lived with my parents, he did it in 31 minutes. I'm sorry, that is 34. Was it 34? Oh, sorry. Yeah, he came fourth. And he's only like, I suppose that is like your prime when you're running, isn't it? I was gonna say he's only like 22. But yeah, that kind of makes sense. But how crazy is that? He would have had to do 2 back-to-back 16-minute 5Ks. That's complete insanity. I was really proud of myself, though. I did it in 51 and a half. And my goal was to do it, originally my goal was to do it in under an hour. And then when I found out there was going to be pacers, I was like, right, I'm going to stick with the 55-minute person. So that was kind of my goal, to stick with the 55-minute-er. And then I managed to get loads of time on him. Look at me go. But yeah, it was really cute. Everyone was out in their St. Patrick's Day outfits. People had like their green tutus and their little shamrock headbands, and they were all decked out. And oh my God, guess what we were wearing? So obviously the name of the run is the Craic 10k. So my mum thought it would be hilarious to get us all matching t-shirts with it printed across it, Here For The Craic. Okay, for all my people watching, this was our t-shirts. How iconic. That does stink. When she did it, I was like, God, I don't know whether to be like so buzzing about this or absolutely mortified. But then I was like, do you know what? Half the people in fact, a lot more than half the people, 90% of the people like watching us run or watching us like also taking part and seeing the t-shirts, they wouldn't have thought twice about it being my podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very niche audience we've got here, very select group of people. So yeah, they're just gonna think we've got t-shirts printed for the Craic 10k racing here for the Craic. So yeah, it was funny, and loads of people were replying being like, merch question mark. Imagine. Something about merch, I love that other people do merch, but like, imagine making merch for yourself. Is there not something really weird about that? Like I'm a wee bit scarlet for you. Like, imagine I just decided, right guys, I'm selling my own merch and I want you all to be wearing it. Is that not weird?
Your face plastered on a t-shirt?
No. No, not my face. But like, what would you think about that? A t-shirt saying here for the Craic? I don't know about that. I can't get behind it.
No,
It's pretty Belfast. Yeah, it. I don't think I would ever buy merch of a podcast I listen to. Would you? You would?
Some people, yeah.
It's more like if they did a live podcast, then maybe you would purchase it there. Like, I like, people have been going to Sabrina Carpenter recently, obviously, on her tour, and people are coming away with their short and sweet hoodies and stuff, and that looks cool. But I don't know, that just, something about that is so embarrassing to me. It's the same with weddings. You know, the way I think weddings are so mortifying, and it's like asking everyone to like book off time and like spend money in hotels and come and like celebrate you and your partner. And it's the same with like selling merch. It's like, what, you expect people to spend money on something with your logo on it? What are you talking about? But yeah, overall, lovely morning. Great way to start St. Patrick's Day. I can now drink my Guinness knowing that I am better than everyone else. Oh well, there's going to be thousands of people also on the same boat. But it feels good. Normally you'd be just like up trying to, do you know what? I felt bad when we were driving in this morning. I felt bad for the people in their school uniforms of the school I used to go to. They used to make us go in on St. Patrick's Day. How sacrilege is that? Like, no other school, well, I don't think any other schools in Belfast make you go in on St. Patrick's Day, but for some reason our school really made a point of like every single year you had to go in on St. Patrick's Day. And I think it was more to do with the fact that, so basically the school's cup, right, is like the big rugby school's cup. What? It's the big rugby tournament, right, that happens in Belfast. And I think my old school were so hopeful that they would get in the final every single year because it's on St. Patrick's Day. So then they wanted everyone to come in, so then it could be a half day and then you could like, you know, go in uniform to the grounds. Because then if they do get in the final and you're not in school, then you risk like students turning up drunk. Like, it could be a recipe for disaster. So I kind of do get why they do it. But also when you're in the moment, it feels sacrilegious. And also not only that, but if you don't get into the Schools Cup final, so then you're just going in for a normal day of school while everyone else is off. That's so criminal. You should be allowed off then, I think, if you're not in the Schools Cup. What's my pit and peak of this week? My peak of the week, well, felt pretty good doing that this morning, I'm not gonna lie. And then I also went down to Dublin for a night this week, which was really fun. I went down with Guinness actually and got to go around the Guinness storehouse, got to go to their 360 bar, which is so cool. It's like a big 360 bar that with just like 360 views of Dublin. The storehouse is actually really fun. It's really interactive. It's not like a boring museum. And then we just like went out in Dublin, went to a couple of spots that I'd been to before, and then went to a place I really wanted to try for food. We got tacos in Massa. 10 out of 10. I love a night out in Dublin. I think it's so fun. I think the vibes are so good. There's this one street, it's called Drury Street, and how nice is it? It's like proper like cobbled Irish street, but it's all pedestrianized. All the pubs and the cafes have like tables and chairs out in the street, and I just feel like Dublin gets so much better weather than us, doesn't it?
So similar, yeah.
But it's only like a 2-hour drive, but for some reason in my head that it's always warmer, it's always drier. Belfast just gets the rain like all the time. We get the rain, we get the grey skies, but it has been really nice recently. We went up Divis yesterday morning and it was gorgeous, and it was blue skies and sunny, but it was fucking Baltic. Also, I had to take a piss in the middle of the mountains. Oh, a humbling experience, guys. In broad daylight, no trees around, nothing to cover me. Like, you don't mind when it's like in the woods and, you know, you can get people to kind of watch out for you, or if someone was to come past, you're like pretty guarded behind a few trees, you can go off into the distance. I'm talking like out in the open grass fields, and also you're on a mountain, or like, well, not, is it a mountain? Yeah, it is a mountain, isn't it? More like hills though, so someone could just pop up from like, it's not like you can look off into the distance and be like, oh yeah, no one's going to come for 10 minutes. Someone's head could just pop up out of nowhere, and within like 30 seconds, I'll be walking past you. So yeah, I had my bare ass out in Divis in broad daylight, at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Again? My dad's doing this charity trip in July, which I need to talk more about. I want to do like a whole episode dedicated to it and tell you all about it. But basically, he's doing like an 8-day trip where they're doing like multiple, 26 peaks of Ireland out of the 32 counties. I think they're doing something like 26, 27, 28 of the highest peaks, because some of the counties don't have mountains. So that's how it works. So you are doing like a peak in every county that has a mountain, if that makes sense. But anyway, so there's going to be some days where they're doing like 3 peaks in one day. Some days where it's 2, some days where it's 3, maybe some days where it's 4. And I was like, dear God, that is going to be some trip with all you men, like shitting and pissing all over the mountains. I was like, what are you going to do? He goes, we're bringing a shovel. Huh? You're bringing a shovel? What do you mean? What are you going to do with a shitty shovel? Like, are you going to carry it around with you? Bring it on the bus to the next mountain? No.
Poo bags.
Yeah, and poo bags. What, you're going to lift up your own shit in a dog poo bag? I can't. I don't even want to think about it. I really don't. Like, oh, that is good luck to them. I do plan on joining them for a day or two, but yeah, TBC. Guys, recommendation of the week. So, started watching White Lotus, as I told you guys. Obviously, I'm so far behind. I hadn't watched any of them, so I've finished season 1 now on to season 2, and holy shit, is season 2 good. I'm so hooked. It's so good. Season 1 was a bit weird, I think, because White Lotus had been hyped up so much. Like, obviously everyone loves it. It is like, you know, a household name, whether you are 17 years old or in your 60s, everyone seems to be loving it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those ones that's just like across the board, everyone loves. And so it had been so hyped that when I watched the first season, I was like a little bit confused, because I was a bit like, nothing's happening. Do you know what I mean? It's a really weird type of TV where like not a lot happens in an episode, but like all this tension's building and these characters are all so like strange in their own different ways, and there's all these different like complex relationships, and you might get to the end of like watching 2 episodes back to back and be like, literally nothing happened, but also so much happened at the same time, and like, what are we waiting for here? So then once I got to the end of the first season, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it was good, but I don't know how I feel about that, being so used to loving series that are so go, you know? Like, I love Top Boy, I love Kin, I love, what else do I love? I love like The Serpent. I love things that really have you on the edge of your seat, where you're like holding your breath and you don't realize till 10 minutes later, and then you're like, whoa, breathe. So watching something like White Lotus that's a lot slower and a lot more, what's the word? It's just not as intense. It's easy watching, but in like a weird kind of twisted way.
Yeah, but at the start it was kind of like a shock, and then it goes back to the...
Yeah, so it shows you a snippet of the end at the start, so you're always thinking, fuck this, like, crazy thing is gonna happen. Where is this gonna happen? Who's it gonna be? Season 2, however, unbelievable. Like, actually so good. I feel like a bit more is happening in season 2, and also I think it just took me watching season 1 to get the vibe of it, to then understand what the rest of it is, if that makes sense. So yeah, season 2 in Italy, obsessed. So far, I think we just finished episode 4, and I'm loving it so much. And I know everyone's loving this last season that's just come out in Thailand, although everyone is saying it's actually even slower. So, I mean, I feel like 2 is going to be the favourite. Alright guys, we've got to get a move on here. We need to head out for our Guinness soon. So today I wanted to do a little episode dedicated to celebrating being Irish, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about being Irish, and then hopefully we're going to hear from some more people about their thoughts and feelings on being Irish. I always find it so crazy that like you could literally be in the middle of nowhere. You could be on a random like Cambodian island or the complete opposite side of the world to that, in somewhere that has like the teeniest population, but there will always be an Irish bar and there will always be people there that are like, oh my god, you're Irish. Like, we have, for such a tiny country with such a small population, I always find it so wild how much of a global presence we have. And obviously that has come from years of hardship and the famine and everything that has forced people out of Ireland, and you know, it's forced people to different countries to seek better lives for themselves and their families, but they've really held on to their Irish heritage and wanted to keep that spirit alive. And yeah, we see that so much literally everywhere we travel to now, and it's so nice as an Irish person to know that you always feel so welcomed everywhere you go, which is so amazing. Like, to always feel like you have a community no matter where you go is so lovely. Even when you're traveling, like no matter where it is, when you meet other Irish people and straight away you feel like you have a friend. And I genuinely think that's like my favorite part of being Irish, is the way we all just get it. We all are just like, we all get it. We're all looking out for each other. The second you know there's another Irish person in the hostel or in the new work team that you've been assigned in a different country or whatever it is, like you'll always be able to have that common ground, and you just know you're going to get it on. Like, it's just a thing. Well, not guaranteed. And I always find it so funny how everyone wants to hold on. People that are even like generations later, they still want to hold on to that Irish heritage so badly. It's like when you meet, it's the stereotypical Americans that you meet and they're like, yeah, I'm Irish. And you're like, are you fucked? Like, that is not an Irish accent to me, but no, I do get it. Like, it's the same with a lot of cultures that even generations later, you still want to hang on to that feeling, and they've probably been raised in a way that like has very much held on to that. So it makes sense why you do like still say that you're Irish and why you still feel Irish. Sorry, anytime I say feel Irish, all I can think of is Anna Paul saying, and that made me feel broke. I'm like, and that made me feel Irish. Recently, there's been a real resurgence in the Irish language, which I think is so amazing to see. For so long, Irish felt like such a dying out language, and it was kind of taught to us when we were younger that like, oh, there's no need to have that. Like, it's a dying language. You're better off learning Spanish or French or whatever it might be, which when you actually think about that sentiment is so crazy. Imagine a French person being told that they shouldn't bother learning French because they're going to end up just speaking English and Spanish would be more beneficial for them to learn in school. Like, the thought of anyone else being told that is so crazy. And it is just a result of colonialism, because I don't want to get too political here. But a way that it was used from British oppressors, basically, when they came to Ireland, they would punish you for speaking Irish, and they would make you feel like it was kind of what was it called? The something language, like the pagan language, or no, oh my god, what am I trying to say? It was like the poor people language. Is pagan the right word? I don't think it is. Anyway, they wanted it to kind of be seen as like it was embarrassing for you to be speaking that, and they used that as a tool to oppress Irish people further, and also to make sure that they couldn't communicate behind their backs. And so for so many years, because that was like so drilled into people's heads, that you just had to start speaking English now. Like, don't get me wrong, there's so many communities that have very much kept it alive, but overall there was the sense of it dying out. And for example, in the north, let me look up the Irish Language Act. What is the Irish Language Act? Okay, so it actually became illegal. I didn't realize they made it law where it was illegal to speak Irish in Ireland. So that's how much of an impact colonialism had on the Irish language, they actually came in and made it illegal. There has now been, like, the Irish Language Act has been passed, which like there was a ban lifted on Irish in court. And now, for example, like if you watch the Kneecap movie and they were speaking Irish to the police officer, and by law, like they had to get a translator into, whereas like before that literally wouldn't have happened. But yeah, we're seeing like a huge resurgence now in the Irish language, which is so amazing. And I think has come from like a number of things, like for example with the media, with music, with television and everything like that, like it's bringing it back to life. But also I think just with like rising patriotism and like want to not let that go, I think we kind of realize the gravity now of letting that go. And like regardless of whether you are a nationalist or a Republican, wait, no, that's the same thing. Oh my god. Regardless of whether you actually like are a nationalist or a unionist, I like if you actually completely take the politics out of it and don't think about any of that, the thought of like completely losing your language is so crazy, and we can't let that happen. I feel so robbed that I never got to learn any Irish. I think it's a crime that my school didn't even offer it. They offered German, French, Spanish, they offered fucking Latin. My sister studied Latin, but not Irish. Like, how insane is that? So yeah, I think it's so nice that it is becoming a thing again. And I actually, the other day, it was really sweet actually. My mum had this, her whole side, like her mum's side of the family had arranged this big like family get together. We did like a walking tour of Belfast and then met up in a pub for lunch, and loads of that side of the family all speak Irish. And actually a few of them, like one family in particular, they live in a Irish speaking area in Belfast, and they went to Irish school. They only speak Irish at home. So like they were just speaking English with us because we speak English obviously. But like, yeah, they at home, actually it's really cool. So they speak Irish to their dad and they speak Portuguese to their mum because she's Brazilian. So how mad is that? They've just been raised knowing 3 languages. I feel completely useless when I hear that my cousins that literally live 10 minutes down the road have been brought up speaking 3 languages, and here I am struggling to remember any of my A-level French. It's really cool to see more Irish speaking things popping up. I'd love to try and be able to be a part of them if I could get some Irish under my belt. I actually really want to go. There's a pub in Belfast that does Irish lessons, but I think it's pretty casual because it's at a pub, so it's like, you know, everyone's beginners and everyone's on the same boat, and it's very chill like that. But a lot of like Irish speaking events are popping up. I've seen like Irish storytelling events. I've seen some Irish speaking yoga events. We're seeing it in movies. We're hearing it in music. Do you know any Irish? No, the basics. Sláinte. Díadich. What's that? Milk? What's good night again? EY. I love that word, EY. But yeah, anyway, Sláinte, Happy St. Patrick's Day. I wonder what Happy St. Patrick's Day is in Irish. Do a little Google search of that quickly there, producer Thomas. Do you guys want a quick story of how St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland? I didn't even know this till I read this today. I mean, I knew the premise of it, but I didn't realize this was the, is this real? Is this a myth? Or is it legit? St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, was born in Britain in the late 4th or early 5th century. As a teenager, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and enslaved in Ireland for several years, working as a shepherd. During his captivity, he turned to prayer and eventually escaped after having a vision that guided him home. Later, he became a priest and felt called to return to Ireland to convert the people to Christianity. He travelled across the country, spreading the faith, establishing churches, and using symbols like the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity. Oh my God! Learn something new every day. Legends credit him with driving the snakes out of Ireland, though this is likely symbolic of banishing pagan beliefs, which I have just discovered today. Pagan beliefs is, what was it? It was kind of like, spirituality. Yeah, it was people that believe more in like connection to nature and like the cycle of life. It was almost a bit Buddhist kind of pagan beliefs. I don't know, it was just spirituality. It was kind of what I was saying. I'm like being kind of feeling like connected to the earth and believing in Mother Nature. Anyway, it's thought that him getting rid of the snakes was likely to be symbolic of banishing pagan beliefs. He died on March the 17th, around 461 AD. So obviously that means that the 17th of March became St. Patrick's Day. Did you know the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration in Boston or something? Chicago? I thought it was Boston. I have never seen the St. Patrick's Day parade in Belfast, which I need to. I was either in school or I was out of school and I was drunk. So at no point have I been down to see the parade, which is such a shame. But I feel it's more geared towards kids. I'd love to spend a St. Patrick's Day in maybe not Dublin, because that might be a little bit chaotic, but the likes of Galway or Cork, where it's just a bit smaller, everything's closer together, everything's walking distance. And yeah, I just think it'd be cool to experience it somewhere like that. Did you look that up? Yeah. Should we play it? Can you not? My God, you heard it here first. Google is anti-Irish. You can play every other translation, but when it comes up with the Irish translation, there's no option to play it out loud. God. Google's anti-Irish, and they've got a St. Patrick's Day logo on the Google. Rats. Spoofers. Right, I think that's enough from me. It is now, it's past 2:30. It is time for us to go and get a Guinness. I just know the second this Guinness hits my stomach, it's game over for me after that run this morning. But anyway, we've got to be patriotic and do these things. I'm so selfless. But yeah, that's the last you're going to hear from me. Hopefully you're going to hear from loads more people about what it means to them to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Fingers crossed we get some sober people that can actually articulate themselves, but I think that's asking for a bit much. Okay, I love you lots.
What does it mean to you to be Irish?
For me, probably Irish dancing.
Take it away. Yep. Okay, let's go. Probably just going on St. Patrick's Day and all the catterings. Being able to celebrate your culture without fear of getting persecuted or anything. That's what it means to be Irish. It's a heritage, it's a shared sense of heritage and a sense of inheriting culture and music and sport and language that goes far back. You've inherited that, has been passed on, and a sense of community around that, and a sense of social justice, I think, as well. I think we appreciate that here in Ireland, and I think that gives us a sense of camaraderie with other people around the world who maybe have experienced depression before.
What is your favourite thing about Irish people or culture?
My favourite thing is the Irish are always up for the crack. You'll always have someone who you'll share a Guinness or a baby Guinness with, and someone will always say hi to you on the street.
My favourite thing would probably be everyone's always up for a good time and a good laugh and always have good crack.
What is your favourite part of Irish culture?
I mean, just going out on an August afternoon and playing gay training with all my mates. That's I play some goals. I love it.
I love all parts of Irish culture. I grew up in GAA. I played camogie. My dad here was my coach for a long time, and I think that instills a really lovely sense of community. And I love Irish music. And I just like the folk songs, like the songs of the people. And it's like you're hearing stories and inheriting those stories of people who came before you, and you kind of bring that history with you.
What is your favourite thing about Ireland?
Creamy pints of Guinness.
Oh, it's gotta be the tunes or the Guinness. It's one of the two.